Hey guys, welcome back to Banks Bible Study. I'm Brody Banks, and today we are going through the fourth chapter in Galatians. And so you guys can grab your Bibles and follow along. I am reading the New Living Translation, so it might be a little bit different, but that's okay. We're starting in Galatians chapter 4, verse 1. It says, "Think of it this way: if a father dies and leaves an inheritance for his young children, those children are not much better off than slaves until they grow up. Even though they actually own everything their father had, they have to obey their guardians until they reach whatever age their father sets. And that's the way it is with us before Christ. Before Christ came, we are like children. We were slaves to the basic spiritual principles of this world. But when the right time came, God sent his son, born of a woman, subject to the law. God sent him to buy our freedom for us who were slaves to the law, and that he could adopt us into as his very own children. And because of this, we are his children. God has sent the Spirit of God into our hearts, prompting us to call out, Abba, Father. Now you are no longer a slave, but God's own child. And since you are his child, God has made you his heir." And so I feel like in every chapter of Galatians, it always starts off with the gospel, right? That God sent down Jesus and saved us. And as we read in here again, if you've been following this series, you can read that it always starts with the gospel, right? It always starts with what Jesus did for us. And so just reading this, we can really reflect and realize when it says that it is like an inheritance, right? God says if we put our faith in Jesus, we get to inherit the world, right? We get to go to heaven. And that's what it's like. It's like we are just waiting for Jesus to come back now, right? Like when we have our faith in Christ, we have the inheritance and we're just waiting for him to come back. And so we can take joy in that, As Christians, we realize when there's going to be a day when Jesus comes back that we get saved, right? And and we can take joy in that. And if you pass away before he comes, you can take joy in that, knowing that you are saved, that you are going to heaven. Verse 8. "Before you Gentiles knew God, you were slaves to so-called gods that did not even exist." And so right here we read that before we came to Christ, right? We were slaves to this world, to sin. We are slaves to sin, but Jesus freed us from that. He freed us, and we look at our life and realize, we are still sinners, but because of Christ's blood, it covers all of our sin. It wipes us clean. So now that you know God, or should I say, now that God knows you, why do you want to go back then and become slaves? And reading this, we realize, guys, we are saved when God frees us from these struggles we're going through, or frees us from that sin struggle or something that happened in your life. When we come to God, we are saved from it. And so we read back here, why are we trying to go back? And so many of us do this. I've done this in my life. God has freed me from a sin struggle, and then I go back into it. And so God is telling us here, once God saves us from that sin or from something that happened in our life, don't go back. Don't look back. Once more to the weak and the useless spiritual principles of this world. You are trying to earn favor with God by observing certain days or months or seasons or years. I fear for you. Perhaps all my hard work with you was for nothing. Dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you that I plead with you to live as I do in freedom from these things. For I've become like you Gentiles, free from those laws. And we go back saying that we don't want to, or it's saying like, why go back? Why look back? And right here in verse 12, we read like, it's so much better to live in freedom from that sin or that struggle. It's so much better to live in that with Jesus than to live in sin. Right? Sin's going to leave you empty 100% of the time. But when you live in freedom with Jesus, you're fulfilled. And that's it. Right there. Don't look back, guys. You did not mistreat me when I first preached to you. Surely you remember that I was sick when I first brought you the good news. But even though my condition tempted you to reject me, you did not despise me or turn away from me. No, you took me in and cared for me as though I were an angel from God, or even Jesus Christ himself. Where is that joyful and grateful spirit you felt then? I am sure that you would have taken out your own eyes and given them to me if that had been possible. Have I now become your enemy because I am telling you the truth? Those false teachers are so eager to win your favor, but their intentions are not good. They are trying to shut you off from me so that you will pay attention to only them. And so, one, we got to remember that other religions are only made to take people away from Christ. I like to think of it as the devil in disguise, right? He disguises himself to say, this is the truth, right? This is the God. But no, it's a distraction from the true God, Jesus Christ. And so, just thinking about, we read about how Paul, he used to persecute Christians, right? And then we read how he's preaching. And it's like, we can't judge people for their sin once they come to Christ. And we got to remember that we're all sinners. And while some people might have done worse stuff in our eyes, God says all sins equal. And so we got to remember that if there's someone that used to be super sinful and now is just coming to Christ, don't judge them for that. Don't judge them. Instead, celebrate that they're coming to Christ, that they're making a change in their life. Verse 18. If someone is eager to do good things for you, that is all right, but let them do it all the time, not just when I'm with you. And I think this is kind of from a pride standpoint here. Looking at this as, don't only do good things for people to look at you. Don't spread the gospel for people to look at you. And I try to be super careful when I make these videos or make TikToks about this, that I'm not doing it for my pride. That's all for Jesus. And that's how we should be. Like, this is what this verse is telling us. Don't do it out of pride. Don't do it for yourself. Do it to grow the kingdom. Right? Because your views are not going to matter when Jesus comes back. Right? But the people that you touch, that you touch with the gospel, that learn that you can save lives, those are the things that are going to matter in Judgment Day. And I said views don't matter, more like your self-pride, right? Well, if you're doing this for views, don't do it for views, but do it to share the gospel to as many people as you possibly can. Oh, my dear children, I feel as if I'm going through labor pains for you again, and they will continue until Christ is fully developed in your life. I wish I were with you right now so I could change my tone, but at this distance, I don't know how else to help you. Tell me, you who want to live under the law, do you know what the law actually says? The scriptures say that Abraham and his two sons, one from his slave wife and one from his freeborn wife, the son of his slave wife was born in human attempt to bring out the fulfillment of God's promise. But the son of the freeborn wife was born as God's own fulfillment of his promise. These two women serve as an illustration of God's two covenants. And the first woman represents Mount Sinai, where the people received the law that enslaved them. And now Jerusalem is just like Mount Sinai in Arabia, because she and her children live in slavery to the law. But the other woman, Sarah, represents the heavenly Jerusalem. She is the free woman. She is our mother. As Isaiah said, "Rejoice, O childless woman, you who have never given birth. Break into a joyful shout, you who have never been in labor. For the desolate woman now has more children than the woman who lives with her husband." And so right here, this is a little confusing. It talks about how the two covenants of God, like saying how once we were defined by the law. So before Jesus came, it was all about following the law, right? That's what made you right. But once Jesus came, this represents how we are not defined by the law anymore. We are defined by Jesus and what he did on the cross, not by the law. And you, dear brothers and sisters, are children of the promise, just like Isaac, but you are now being persecuted by those who want to keep the law, just as Ishmael, the child born by human effort, persecuted Isaac, the child born by the power of the Spirit. But what do the scriptures say about that? Get rid of the slave and her son, for the son of the slave woman will not share the inheritance of the free woman's son. So, dear brothers and sisters, we are not children of the slave woman. We are children of the free woman. And so that last verse, I love that, saying how we are not defined by the law anymore, right? It's not about your past. It's about what Christ did on the cross. So it's not about following the law, right? That's not what it's about. While those things should come with loving Christ, you should want to be a good person. You should want to stay out of sin. You should want to change your life around. But we are free. We are not slaves to sin anymore, because we are free because of what Jesus did on the cross. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next week for Galatians 5.